2021 brought us a free Britney, a space race for billionaires, and it turned Laura and Raymond into TikTok stars. But it also brought us a completely unhinged and discredited media. If we had listened to them instead of doing our own research and questioning those in charge, things would be really different. Here's just a few examples of what they tried to get us to believe this year.
Critical race theory. It's a boogeyman. It's not even taught in most K through 12 schools.
January 6th was worse than 9/11.
We know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
Joining me now is Victor Davis Hanson, Hoover Institution Senior Fellow and author of Dying Citizen. Victor, Rachel Maddow said it. It must be true that if you've gotten vaccinated, no chance. It stops right there.
Yeah, I don't want to be too cynical, Jason, but I don't think the media exists as we once knew it. It's fused with the left-wing movement and the Democratic Party. And that's why Trump had not been in office more than 90 days, and the liberal Shorenstein Center at Harvard said that 93% of the coverage was biased against him. And we had prominent marquee journalists, Christiane Amanpour, Jim Rittenhouse, Jorge Ramos. They said they couldn't be disinterested because of the Trump phenomenon. And so if you would believe the media, then we heard that Andrew Cuomo was a professional and gifted governor. Chris Cuomo was a professional journalist. There was no relation between the Wuhan Level 4 lab and the origins of COVID. The Chinese were very sober and judicious in the way they handled the outbreak. We were told that somehow in Waukesha there was an autopilot SUV that killed 6 people and injured 62, but we didn't really know much about the driver or what. We were told the Rittenhouse trial, where there was white-on-white violence, was simply about race. And I could go on. So they don't feel that they have to be, and they should not be disinterested. The other thing they do is they're a megaphone for Democratic talking points. About every 3 or 4 weeks, they flood the airways and the print media with a theme. And you remember when Joe Biden went below 40%, suddenly democracy was in danger in 2022. 2024, we could lose the country. And they had just told us it was very resilient in electing Joe Biden. And then we were told that we might face a coup. And military officers were writing in the Washington Post, for example, that there was a danger of a coup in 2024. Very ironic, because there were people on the left that had almost advocated a coup if it was necessary to get rid of Donald Trump. And then with Joe Manchin suddenly is a renegade in the Senate, and now we're flooded the last week with the idea, well, the Senate doesn't practice equity. It's an archaic, ossified institution. It's not fair that California doesn't get the same numerical representation as Wyoming, even though it's essential to the Constitution. So, I was thinking about this right now, and the one thing that Ben Rhodes, the former deputy national security advisor to Barack Obama, said that was true about only one thing. He said that these people are 20 and 30 somethings that know nothing, and we create an echo chamber and we feed them stuff, and they reverberate it and magnify it back. And I think that's what the media is. It's not fair to call them the media. They're an extension of this progressive movement.
I've got 30 seconds, Victor, but if I said to you, what did Joe Biden actually do and accomplish in 2021? Can you really honestly name anything?
Well, I think he did one thing. He terrified the left, because they had told us he could campaign from the basement. It was only because of COVID. He was completely in control of his faculties, and now they look at the polling and the polling with Kamala Harris that you've covered, and I think they're terrified, and they're starting for the first time to create a scenario or a landscape that suggests that he's challenged, because they're afraid that he's going to take them down to historic defeat.
Wow, yeah. Victor, you're one of the smartest guys we get to talk to. I thank you for joining us here on the Ingraham Angle. Really do appreciate it. Have a wonderful New Year.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.